everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Always so happy to find you here. I do upload on Mondays and Thursdays. So when you subscribe, please click subscribe. You will be notified when I have uploaded new content for your view. And of course, my pleasure. It is indeed my pleasure. Welcome to all my new subscribers. I see the growth and you are welcomed here. This is a very safe, inviting, judgment-free zone. And so it's my pleasure to have you here. It's indeed my pleasure. As you can see from my backdrop, I was going to put Wheel of Fortune, but I'm just going to go Wheel of Fun. Because I'd like to give a little adjustment here. There you go. I'd like to address the new host, Ryan Seacrest of Wheel of Fortune. And as you know, if you've watched any of my prior videos, you know, I attempt to be truthful, but also careful and respectful of my views, opinions, sharings, I'll put it that way. And if there's any backdrop, I do build that up before I get into the topic. So for this backdrop, let me build it up. I am not by my own, this is me talking. I am not by my own preference a Ryan Seacrest fan. I don't see that changing. And it's not personal. It's truly not personal. But I look at his genre of appointed positions, and I wonder why. And it disturbs me that it continues to be enhanced in, this is my opinion, this is my observation and my personal view, but also my professional acumen to behind the scenes, my professional acumen for behind the scenes. Okay, respectfully. Okay, so please give me the best words. So let's start with that. When Ryan Seacrest first came on the scene around, I don't know when, the very beginning of American Idol, there was a jockeying of position with him and then I believe co-host Carson Daly, I believe, who is now hosting The Voice. And it became behind the scenes cantankerous. Now, as a viewer, the network is not going to bring us into that. But as an HR person, I know conversations behind the scenes that most employees just go to work to do their job and they're never privy to that. I'll say it that way. So when I saw that, I thought, they're both entry level. Don't nobody know them. Why is all this battling? But the position was so important. And it was way before reality TV shows really, what I would say, hit the scene. So now I'm alerted, like a sniffing dog. I got alerted. And I began to watch him. And I started seeing this same posturing for a role, posturing for the next gig, posturing for the next opportunity, posturing for the next job. Now, as a fair-based initiative type person, as a truly equal opportunist type person, as a person who truly believes in KSA, knowledge, skills, and abilities for the job, as a person whose role is to ensure fair balance for your growth at work, for mine, for your development for the tools, for the skills, for the career opportunities, for the trainings, for the promotions. This is important to me. And I pour myself into it. Because guess what? This is your career. This is your earning. This is how you will live. Because unless you're independently wealthy, you're going to go to work. So for me, and again, I always say, I know it's an imperfect world. And I know I sometimes come across, even to myself now that I'm aware of it, as kumbaya. Can't we all just get along? Kindness works. I know sometimes I am that, but I know also I'm very realistic. I understand the political playing field at work. I understand the egos in a way. I understand preferences. I get it. I get that it exists. So, having said that, my typical approach at work involved in any input to changing the working career platform, any legislation, I try to stay active that whatever is fair and equitable for you to succeed has nothing to do with gender, has nothing to do with gender preferences, has nothing to do with race or race biases. Although all these things exist, but to me, primarily, if we are all looking for KSA, knowledge, skills, and abilities, that will make things more even. So, and I know that doesn't always happen. So having said that, when Ryan Seacrest left Ryan and Kelly, my brow raised up. I said, something's happening. He is not leaving this $10 million a year gig on the table. Something's happening. There'll be an announcement. Sorry a little bit for my backdrop. The sun is hitting me. So bear with me. I'm not going to reach for it again, but I want to give you excellence, as you know. I need to feel that I'm giving you excellence. So here we go. I'm just going to roll with it. When that happened, I said, what's he got up his sleeve now? He's not leaving that $10 million on the table. And so I'm alerted again. But then I kind of switched and watched the new replacement of Kelly's husband. Well, how did he happen to get that job? Who else interviewed for it? You just appointed a husband? You just $10 million increase your household earnings? Was there not anybody else interested? Did anybody else apply? Did you interview? What was the process that got to get her husband? All of this goes in through my head. Now, sometimes my sister says, why do you let these things bother you so much? And I said, when you stand behind this conference room and have to go to bat for someone's career as many times as I had, you wouldn't say that. You see the energy? You see the energy? This is a person's career. This is a person's opportunity. This to them looks unfair. This to them looks unfair. So happened to be Kelly's husband got that job. That wasn't okay with me. I knew he didn't just walk away to $10 million. Now, here comes Pat Sajak, who has been the host for all these years. 30 years, I believe. I'll drop it in the description box. I said I wasn't gonna bother to give. Help it. I have to. So here's Pat Sajak going to retire. Now the network is ABC, which is owned by Disney. And Whoopi Goldberg happens to be on The View, which is on ABC, owned by Disney. Whoopi makes an announcement on the table. Now, I knew that was strategy. That is strategy. Trust. So she makes this public announcement. I'd like to have that gig 2 weeks ago. I'll drop it in the description box if they haven't taken it off yet. But there they were. And she said, I'd love to have that gig. Oh, I'd love it. And so put her hat in the ring. Well, this week they announced their new host. And of course, not of course, but guess who it is? It's Ryan Seacrest. So let's take a look at Ryan Seacrest's many streams of resources. He's Dick Clark's New Year's Eve celebration. Let's count down in New York to our new year. One night only. One night, not even entire, one night, $1 million. He was with Kelly, and he had to have his name in the course, so it had to be live with Kelly and Ryan. $10 million a year. He's on air with Ryan. Have to have his name in it. On air with Ryan. Now here in California, that radio show is Kiss FM. I believe I'm not even gonna it's Kiss FM. I'm not give the dial. You find it on your own. And so there's earnings there, and I forgot to look that one up, I believe. So he had American Idol and all of this. His earnings last year was $450 million. So tell me why you needed this Wheel of Fortune job. That's greed. That's greed. There are hundreds of well-suited actors. Wayne Brady would have been great. That's me talking. Haven't heard anything from Wayne. It just blurted out. Wayne Brady would have been great. Whoopi would have been great. But anyway, so all of this with Ryan Seacrest, and I haven't even mentioned the Kardashians. Well, everybody knows that show is reaming in the bucks, and he's the executive producer on it, has his name on everything. So everything they touch, earn, book, he gets paid for it. That's greed. He has to host the red carpet awards for the Oscars. It's greed. Now, I preface that I've not been a Ryan Seacrest fan. You ask yourself why. I would say mostly because of that, because of greed, because of juxtaposition, because of jockeying for position in your career, because if you don't give a about anybody else, it's all about you. It's this all ego. I am not a person who embraces ego. I've always been a person to have to knock it down. Or I'll work with someone who can. I will hopefully be conspiring in a good way, not to ruin the person, but to say, hey, this is how this is coming across to everyone else employed here. I know how to do that. Got it. But just by that announcement, so that's me again. Just so that I'm speaking as me as a personnel director. Man. So now I'm talking about back to how it impacts the show. Ryan's new salary at Wheel of Fortune is $28 million a year. Now you see my body language, and you see my mannerisms, and I'm going to have to control that better. But you get it. It's $28 million a year. So it's nearly 3 times what he walked away from with Live with Kelly, an hour-long show, whereas Wheel of Fortune is only half an hour. You see? Wheel of Fortune is a half an hour show. Live with Kelly is an hour show. So you work less time, but you make 3 times as much money. I don't see how that levels the playing field. So that's that. Secondly, Pat Sajak, who's been there forever, earns $16 million per year. Now imagine how he might feel knowing that he's retired after all these 40 years in a mule of working, and some young jock you're going to bring in earning nearly twice what I earned. Imagine how he might feel with his new golden parachute news. This is what I mean as an HR person. When we executive make these decisions, how it impacts, how it demotivates the workforce, how it starts the gossip mill, how it displaces people. And then someone like me and my team has to go fix all that. And you wonder why the employee surveys are so poor. It is no longer a compliment when employees come to me and say, Sheri, I know you're trying. Thank you. I know. Because they don't see a change higher up. This is the area that's a challenge. How do you explain that to a Pat Sajak? If it was me, I'd say, am I not valued? So here I go now. Now this is a Capricorn in me. Oh, it's go time. This is a Capricorn. I would say, I'm going to rescind my retirement. I'll get my retirement letter back. That was my choice. I don't want to retire. Give me that salary. Play with me. Give me that salary. I'm not retiring. I'm not sick. I'm not old. Nobody's more capable of this job than me. I've been doing it for 40 something, all these years. Give me that salary. See, this is how you make change. Change your mind. You see the energy? It disturbed me. Because when they make executive decisions like that, they don't consider how, I just said it, they don't consider the impact. You have a very lauded, highly respected, reliable, dependable, capable, honored host who you just insulted before he got out the door. Because a young persnickety, greedy, egoistic, God-like just walked in the building. No. Stop yourself. No. Now that's just that. Let's turn the leaf. I mentioned that Whoopi Goldberg said she would love to have that position. Whoopi Goldberg earns $8 million a year on The View. You could have got her for cheap. She earns half of what Pat Sajak earns. Half. Pat Sajak earns 16. Whoopi earns only 8. Now, only 8, but she earns 8. You could have saved some money. You could have got her for cheap. And guess what? She has what I call, so this is me speaking, she has speaking credentials, stuff that she could back it up. She's an EGOT. Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. Her Broadway show, The Sisters Act, is a Broadway show, which she also has some rights to that. She's a stand-up comedian. She hosted the Oscars for years with her comedic buddies, Billy Crystal and rest in peace, Robin Williams. She's earned this consideration. But did you? No. No, you didn't. She said she wanted that position. I don't know if they interviewed her. I don't think so. I haven't even mentioned her role in Color Purple, a legend of a movie. Most of these before Ryan Seacrest was even probably born. And so this is what I mean by that. It has nothing to do with Ryan Seacrest personally, but has everything to do with Ryan Seacrest's ways, the ways of such a man, the greed, the ego, the jockeying for position, the making behind the scenes phone calls. But trust me, behind the scene phone calls were made. Negotiations were made. Agents and lawyers were talking. Whoopi Goldberg is one of, I think, less than 20 celebrities with an EGOT. An earned EGOT, because there were also honorary EGOTs beyond that 18 number. She has earned it. Why should she beg you for a spin the wheel of fortune job? This is insulting. This is insulting. So let me wrap it up this way. I'm a person that you can do a lot of things. And I could find a way to kumbaya with you. I've learned to. I naturally could do it, but now I've really learned to. It's easier for me to get a slow yes from you than a quick no. I'll work with you. Oh yeah. But the one thing that I cannot seem to put myself around, and I refuse to do so, it's counterproductive for me to do so as a person or professional, is a level of disrespect. Because disrespect is dishonor. It's superiority. It comes from a complex of a person believing they are greater than you to a degree that's grand enough that makes them a god and you a peasant. Now, I know that's harsh. I know that language seems harsh and maybe strong. But look at this wheel of fun behind me. These are earnings. Every year, now many HRs don't do it, I understand, but every year I look at compensation for everybody. I actually read the SPD. Now people say, what's an SPD? Don't worry about it, I got it. I read summary plan description. I read that. I want the best for our employees, whether they take it or not. And I still know some of them are going to be off. Can't please everybody, but boy, I do try. And that's why it's disturbing to me. Because here you have this lauded person who said to you, I would love that job. And you didn't even consider that. And if you did, now, I don't know behind the scenes, but if you did, how is it that you derived to your conclusion? Now, I know Hollywood says, we want whatever can drive the greatest viewers. Well, let me tell you this. Let me tell you about your viewers. Okay, let me tell you about your viewers. No one person is going to drive your viewers in such a way that's sustainable unless the format of your show changes too. Nobody's a god, but of course Ryan is, so maybe Ryan could do it. Just saying. But nobody can. I understand the business, but you want to grow the viewers. And so maybe in their mind, they're thinking, well, he's EP of the Kardashians, and everybody's watching that nonsense, respectfully, but and he does the New Year's Eve show and all. So if we can tag on that, we can grab them in. Well, this is called cloud chasing. Just because I'm watching them doesn't, but they will link it. But this is all that they'll link all of that. Wheel of Fortune has been around for 1,000,000 years. You either watch it or you don't. And having this new God come in ain't gonna change anything and answer nobody's prayer, because you had a prayer when you could have had Whoopi. Now Whoopi could have brought them in. So what's the difference? You're saying so you're asking me what would be the difference? Everyone is seeing to me now. This is back to me talking. This is back to me talking. when I see Ryan Seacrest, I see the same fabricated thing. Now, careful, fabricated. I see the same thing. I see a carefully crafted personality. But when I see Whoopi Goldberg, I see truth. I see a real person. I see a fun person. I see a comedian person. I don't know what's going to come next. Boy, she's excited. There is something worth watching when I watch her. Now, each person likes what they like. We all like what we like. But I was bothered, disturbed, shaken, raised my eyebrow about the choice of Ryan Seacrest. Yes, I'll admit that. I was bothered by the choice because I'm thinking, how other people have been interviewed. And so this is a job. You get a paycheck. So this thing called DOL, Department of Labor, you're supposed to fair, equal employment enhancements opportunities for people. Did you interview anybody else? Now, in Hollywood, nobody's going to complain because somebody's going to call that person and they're going to call that person and I'll never work again. I don't ever hire me. Well, see, that needs to stop too. All of this, I can't. Let's stop here and get off my soapbox. But I think that Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy are going through some major changes. I did an upload on when Alec Trebek, rest in peace, the turnover. But at least because, as you probably know, Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy are owned the same, not only network, but they're in the same binding contract together. So whoever executive produces them maybe produces the other one. So having said that, at least with Jeopardy, they went through this long interviewing process. They actually brought in several hosts to consider. Why don't Will at least do that? Or maybe they were burned from Jeopardy and they didn't want to go through that again. I don't know. But I just think that this was, now this is me talking. I just think that this was that old school, behind the scenes, close the door, let's make a deal type of situation. And here, Ryan, here's your Wheel of Fortune. We're going to give you $28 million. Now, we paid Pat 16, but we're going to give you 28. What justifies that? What justifies that salary? Anyhow, I'm sorry, in my opinion, but my goodness, you would certainly want someone like me to advocate for fair wages, right? Like a doc. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. And I hope you enjoyed this upload and my energy towards it. But when you believe in what you believe in, your passion speaks volumes. Okay, so I guess that's what it is today. I love you. If you've gotten this far, please click subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have, invite a friend for next time. I'll see you next time. You guys are my Wheel of Fortune. Bye.